And we are live. Welcome to the newest episode of Ask Me About My Draculas, where we explain supernatural books, movies, and TV shows. I am one of your hosts, Kel McDonald, and I make comics that you can read at kelmcdonald.com.
And my name is Ma'at Crook, and lately I've been making some Dungeons and Dragons stuff on the DMs Guild. But you can find me on Twitter at Ma'at Crook.
And I'm Rhiannon Rasmussen Silverstein. I'm a pre-press technician at Dark Horse, as well as a freelance print consultant. And you can find more about me on my website, rhiannonrs.com, which is spelled Rhiannon, because no one can ever spell that.
This week we're going to talk about the teen romance series Vampire Academy. I have seen the movie. Rhiannon, you have?
I've seen the movie, and I read the first book.
Ma'at, since you have no experience with it, what do you think Vampire Academy is about?
Well, I may be cheating a little bit because it's been in my queue for forever, my Netflix queue, but I just haven't had the stamina to actually press play on it because it looks kind of B-rated shitty.
It is really terrible.
From the front cover, there is a young, like a teenage girl, upside down in a locker hallway, if I'm remembering correctly. And so I'm assuming high school. I think probably the main character is a young female girl. Let's see. Vampire Academy. Okay, so there's a school just for vampires, and they get into a lot of hijinks, and everybody hates vampires. The whole world is against them and builds giant robots to come and attack the vampires at this academy.
You think it's X-Men, but with vampires?
Yeah.
Okay. You are correct that it is about a vampire school.
I feel like X-Men, but with vampires, isn't too off the mark, as long as you're thinking like New Mutants type X-Men.
Yeah, New Mutants. Yeah.
I don't know, because, like, it seems like the real world doesn't know about this secret vampire school. Also, there's some serious classism going on.
There is, there's some crazy classism.
Yeah.
Also lots of teen romance hijinks.
Teen vampire romance?
Every
Like,
vampire, every girl is a half vampire. So her entire purpose in life is to serve the vampire princess, who's her best friend.
Yep.
Can she really be the best friend if she's her servant?
They run away together, and they're totally not lesbians, so they must be best friend gal pals.
Okay.
They have a psychic connection that the main character sometimes uses to spy on the vampire princess.
Yep.
Like, she can see the world through vampire princess's eyes.
Like when she's making out or something.
Yeah. So, like, the movie starts with vampire princess has a dream about a horrible car accident that killed her parents. And, like, main girl wakes up and, like, basically yells at the vampire princess for having a dream about her dead parents.
Oh, jeez.
The exact line is, like, why can't you have normal teenage girl dreams about hot guys riding unicorns? And it turns out they're on the run because of this car accident. But they very quickly get, like, captured by this vampire school and are told that they have to return to vampire school.
They have no choice but to attend fancy vampire boarding school.
Yeah.
That is their curse in life.
Because it's an academy. It does sound very rich.
Yeah, and then we get like an explanation of the fancy school, and then we get an explanation that there's 3 types of vampires. There's the half vampires, like the main character, who are just like basically bodyguards for the chosen vampires.
It's very feudal.
Yeah, and then the chosen vampires are all like the vampire royalty, but they're nice and don't kill people. So they get spiffy magic powers that can control, like they can control an element. But they don't have vampire weaknesses.
Yeah, they can like go outside whenever. In fact, there's a lot of people just sort of chilling out in the sunlight.
Yeah, even though they're vampires, they sure hang out in the sun a lot.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, we're gonna go hang out in the courtyard at school like a normal teen.
So
Yeah.
if you don't drink human blood, or if you don't drink human blood,
but they don't have any like.
They don't like kill humans to drink human blood. They only drink ethically sourced human blood.
Yeah.
Or like the vampire princess drinks her best friend's blood, and it's not gay in any way.
Yeah, there's a big like no homo thing going on over every scene between this girl and her best friend.
Yep.
they have to go, but this doesn't mean anything. They actually have dialogue that says, but we're not really into each other.
Whenever they have a scene like this, there's dialogue where they talk about how hot boys are.
Yeah, like every time. They're like, oh, I would die for you. Man, did you see that boy, though? He's so hot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And that's basically how this whole movie runs. And then the third type of vampire are all the evil vampires, and they kill people. So that's how we know they're evil.
But they don't get special elemental powers?
And instead, they're stronger than all the other vampires.
And they make ugly faces when they're mad.
So,
like
yeah,
Buffy Vampire Slayer faces? Bumpy faces?
they're kind of, they
I
both
think
just look sick.
Yeah, they they snarl a lot. So I guess like more snarly than Buffy Bumpy. Like they're very angry and sickly looking, which is like a superpower all of its own. That's what I've learned from movies.
There's also, so they return to school, and then everyone's mad at the vampire princess for running away. And it's really unclear, like, I guess she put, like, their whole school in danger by running away. But they never really make it clear. It's just everyone's super shitty to her about running away after her parents died.
Yeah, and like it totally like from the opening it was like they just sort of throw you into this thing and then they like have this intimate scene where like the bodyguard main character girl has her blood drinking by the princess and you're like, oh, they totally ran away to be like lesbian lovers and like fuck the system, and then they immediately go back and are like, well, guess we're in high school now. I was like, what happened to this cool movie? There was like a cool setup.
So then, gothy, loner, outcast boy starts to bond with the vampire princess.
And is everyone in the cast a vampire?
Yeah, everyone's a vampire.
Yeah.
Because you see, not only is everyone mad at the vampire princess for running away, but they also are being super shitty to her because she hasn't gotten an element yet. So apparently, like, her magic powers didn't turn on quick enough, and that makes everyone hate her. So she bonds with creepy loner guy that can't act and keeps doing, like, the blue steel Zoolander face.
Really does. He spends a lot of time like sitting in corners, like practicing his modeling looks. Yeah, they deliberately gave him really stringy hair.
Yeah, so it doesn't quite work at all.
Right, because he's like under this stringy hair, I'm probably a decently attractive actor, but you can't tell because I'm making a Blue Steel look and have school shooter hair. And you're like, this combination is not particularly compelling.
Okay, Rhiannon, remember that terrible show I told you about with Isaiah Mustafa's in it?
Mm-hmm.
The goth guy in this movie is the male lead in that, so I can tell you, even without stringy hair, he doesn't look that good.
Poor guy.
He just keeps making that Blue Steel lip.
Oh, no.
And now he has a whole TV show to do it in.
Well, good for him, I guess.
And so the main character is told that she has to, like, go have combat training so she can better protect the princess. Meanwhile, the main character is yelling at Goth Kid, telling him he's a creepy stalker, but it seems like he just, like, sat with Vampire Princess at lunch.
Yeah, she was like, stop stalking me, and he was like, we just hang out in the same gothy church.
Yeah. So, like, it's one of those things where, while he is creepy, and could definitely, like, fit in the Edward Cullen archetype of, like, you're saying this is romantic, but actually it's really creepy and fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not actually doing anything that's creepy other than, I guess, standing there.
He actually, like, I don't know, in the movie I found him sort of endearing because he seemed like a clueless teenage dude who, like, didn't have any friends and didn't really know how to, like, be social. And
Yeah.
then, like, this chick was like, stop stalking me, and he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was just sitting across from you and practicing being social.
Yeah, I was just sitting here practicing my modeling looks.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, I guess that's okay, actually. And then, like, they get along after that. I was like, that's pretty accurate to high school, honestly.
Yeah.
And then, so then the Vampire Princess's powers do turn on, and then suddenly everyone likes her again. And she stops hanging out with Luther Kid with the stringy hair practicing his modeling looks.
Yep.
Because she's a great person. But then her cat dies. And they like...
Yeah.
The princess's cat?
Yeah, the princess has a cat, and the cat gets horribly murdered and, like, left in her bedroom.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah. And isn't, like, I don't know, they, like, write with blood on the wall? That's a little later, though.
yeah, people are like... And then people are like, oh, this is serious. The people that killed your parents are after you. And she's like, no, because the message is spelt wrong, so that means it's just a teenage prank. So I guess she assumes that all the evil vampires are really good at grammar and stuff.
I mean, I guess it's fair to be like, I really hope the people who killed my parents can spell.
And then it finds out that she has the specialist magic power, which is spirit, which is really unclear.
Oh, wow. They never
They
show
never-
her powers?
See what that means, except while the main character is confronting the vampire princess, there is the funniest injury in any movie I've ever seen, which is the vampire princess is mad and wants, like, this conversation to stop, so she somehow magically makes a hole in the ground right where the main character is about to step. So the main character steps down really hard, and then her calf bone just pops out of its, like, her skin. Like,
Oh, yeah!
and it's
Oh, that
like,
was amazing.
I thought she's supposed to be super strong and a super warrior. Like, I could understand if that sprains your ankle, but, like, even a person with the most fragile bones, like, when they step down hard, that does not suddenly make their calf bone pop in half.
Yeah. Nope.
And then, meanwhile, the main character is having, like, this really inappropriate flirting with her, like, combat instructor. Who
That's-
is her.
So, one of the main differences from the books is that romance with her, like, 30-something-year-old combat instructor is the main romance through the book.
Ew.
Yeah, it's pretty a thing. It sure is a thing.
And so then, like, I guess there's Vampire Prom. I don't really know why they're having a party. Never really make it clear. Is it prom?
I'm pretty sure it's prom.
Okay.
You know, even European. Is it European? It's supposed to be like European, right?
I thought it was English because Vampire Princess kind of has an English name.
Everyone has like names like Dimitri and Lissa. So I always
What's the main two characters' names?
Rose and Vasilissa. And everyone has. It's Saint Vladimir's Academy, so I always thought it was like supposed to be Eastern European. Like, it's.
So Rose is the half vampire.
Yeah.
And what's the princess's name?
Lissa, which is short for
Lissa.
Vasilissa.
These are really stupid.
They're very like. I read a little bit about Ivan the Terrible or whatever, and then I decided to use a whole bunch of Russian words in my vampire kissing book.
So yeah, so there's Vampire Prom, and they're like their nerdy friend that's kind of been in the background the whole movie, not really doing anything.
Stringy-haired guy?
No, they have like a nerdy girlfriend.
It's the nerdy ugly girl who's actually really cute, but she wears like big glasses.
So that's how you know she's not attractive. Like,
And slightly darker skinned than everyone else.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is she the only person of color, or?
No, she's not even a person of color. Like,
she just has tan skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, everyone else has, like, that super pale makeup on, and she's the only one that doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, like, she looks like a person colored, and everyone else...
Looks normal.
Yeah.
Everyone else looks like they be translucent, because they, like, did slightly, you know, really pale, bluey makeup.
Yeah. So, but it looks like all the cast is white?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there was a black bodyguard woman, right? And that's it.
Yes. There was one, like, person with no lines.
Wow.
I think she was my favorite character.
So the, like, nerdy friend that hasn't done anything all movie is suddenly like, oh, hey, main character, you looked at this really expensive necklace, and so my dad bought it for you for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's not suspicious at all. And it turns out that nerdy friend, her dad is evil. She's evil too. She's been spying on them this whole time. And Dad bought this necklace for main character because he put like a love spell on it, so that way her and her fighting instructor would be too busy making out to notice that bad guys were kidnapping the princess.
That is literally the plot.
I like that you're.
So is he the, like, was the instructor already
Yeah, they were having an inappropriate relationship. Like, this is not kosher student-teacher behavior.
I mean, their inappropriate relationship mostly consisted of them, like, sort of starting to wrestle slightly, and then they would be like, this is inappropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, so it would be like they'd flirt fight a little bit, and then they'd be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this because this is inappropriate student-teacher conduct. But then
so in the movie, the evil father of the other student pushes them over the edge to actually having a relationship.
Yeah.
Well,
still gross.
Mid make out that they're both under a spell.
Yeah.
yeah, they make out really hard, but they're under a spell, and then they remember that it's inappropriate, and thus overcome the power of the love spell.
I think it was he like rips the necklace off of her.
In a fit of passion, and then they remember it's inappropriate.
So then they have to go save the princess.
Rose and the instructor.
Yeah. And then dramatic reveal that nerdy best friend is evil, and so is her dad. And that's kind of the end of the movie. And it kind of makes you think that there's going to be sequels, but it is not a good enough movie to get sequels.
Well, it did incredibly poorly. It did not make back the money it cost to make it, and there was going to be a sequel, but then they saw that it made negative dollars, and they were like, we're not going to make this movie. And I actually looked it up, and they tried to Kickstarter the sequel, but they raised less than a third of their goal because not even the fans wanted it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty harsh.
And also there's a lot of, like, shots in this movie that are really unnecessarily creepy. Like, the whole thing is, like, really gray when they're outside, and then suddenly a crow, like, slams itself into the wall, and there's no explanation for it.
Is there in the first book?
So in the first book, the whole emphasis of the plot is different. Like, it's a really big deal that Lissa and Rose have this, like, psychic relationship thing, and that's super played up, and then, like, Lissa has supermassive healing powers. She's the princess. She has, like, the best healing powers that ever existed in the history of everything.
Oh, that could be why they put in the ridiculous "my bone popped out of my calf."
Yeah, that's why that happened. So that, like, actually made sense to me, but out of context,
that it happened the way it did, but it makes sense why they have an injury that horrific in.
Yeah.
And so when the bone pops out, Lissa comes and heals the person?
Yeah. And that's Rose. Like, she makes Rose's bone pop out, and then is like,
oh, yeah.
hey, sorry. Let me fix that.
Yeah, we're best friends.
But I still thought, like, it was really funny how easily that bone popped out. It's like, I feel like no super warrior should be that fragile with their bones.
No, definitely not. And, like, Rose is super played up as being really good at fighting and everything. And they have, like, they have this super rare psychic connection that's kind of a bigger deal in the book than in the movie. Let's see.
So in the book, it's unusual for them to have that much of a psychic connection?
Right, whereas in the movie, I felt like everyone was just like, oh, Lissa and Rose have a psychic connection, also it's Tuesday. So it seemed like just like a, one of those ordinary vampire royalty things.
Hmm. So in this case, is the movie better than the book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no teacher-student banging.
Okay, so I'm gonna go on record saying this, and if no one wants to talk to me ever again, that's okay. I enjoyed the movie. Like, the only thing that I super disliked was the end when it turned out that the nerdy best friend went evil because she was mad that everyone else was prettier than her. So she's like, and then I took off my glasses and I was evil instead of being.
But also super hot.
Oh yeah, and she like leaps across the room and like does some really horrible. I'm trying to be frightening, but she's like this tiny, like, oh my god.
She kind of looks like Phoebe on Arrested Development.
Yeah.
All.
But, like, I don't know, as far as, it's very, like, so I also watched High School Musical and enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So, like, as far as, like, campy teen movies go, I thought it was fun. There's like some cute dialogue. It's not like, except for the end, where, again, like, the one girl is all like, my whole motivation this time was that even though my dad's rich, I'm not pretty enough, and everyone else gets more attention than me, and high school is the most important part of my whole life.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw everything away to become super evil.
And literally the only thing that changed about my life is that I'm better at jumping across a room. Like, I mean, I guess, I don't know, are you going to try out for the basketball team after that? Like, what is your long-term goal here?
That's the sequel to Teen Wolf.
I hope so.
I feel like I also liked High School Musical, but I feel like it's not over the top enough to be High School Musical level campy.
That's fair. It could have done with the...
If there were more scenes like the bone randomly popping out for no reason, I would have thought this movie was great.
Yeah, and I actually kind of like how Broody Boy was handled, where he just kind of seemed like a hapless dork.
Yeah.
So that I found charming, and then the whole romance with the teacher was really skeezy, but I was glad that at least the way that they resolved it was them being like, this is really inappropriate, we can't do this, and I think he like transferred out of the school or something.
Oh wow.
Maybe
that does sound slightly better than the book.
Yeah, no, in the book, like, he gets kidnapped and she has to go rescue him, and like, but it's still all like this massive romance thing, and he's so hot and broody, and like, even though he's older than her.
Oh, the one thing I thought was really funny is there's one time where, like, bodyguard combat instructor guy is, like, getting the princess somewhere, and he's all like, where's Rose? She's supposed to be here. And then she, like, just jumps out of the side of the screen, and he, like, flips her over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, the one thing that I really liked was I mentioned there was that one black half-vampire bodyguard woman. So as part of the evil plot, they, like, burst in and shoot her, and she, falls over, and I was like, no, you literally had a black person with no speaking lines and then killed her immediately.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, a fight, and then after that, you see her, like, swearing and pulling off her bulletproof vest. So she's fine. And she, like, shows up and helps kick ass at the end, and I was like, you didn't kill her! She wore a bulletproof vest because she's a bodyguard! She didn't die, and she did her job. Congrats, you.
But yeah, I did like Rose trying to do sneak attack, show up her professor. That went very poorly. That was really
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced. It sounds like it has too many isms.
It's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a lot.
I think it would annoy me. The sexual assault with the teacher is really gross to me.
It's really gross. That part, and then the whole motivation of the best friend twist thing was just like, that really killed the whole deal. I was like,
that character up that much, so like I didn't feel like that she was their friend.
right, so it like just came out of nowhere, and then she's like, yeah, I only hang out with you losers because you're prettier than me, but also I hate you, and also I'm evil now because I feel like I'm ugly. And I'm like, this is not motivations, and this is like how did you manage to have this also be like racist and sexist and everything like at the same time while having a cast of entirely white people?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's also part of the problem, too.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, oh my god. Yeah, so like I remember I actually went and saw it in the theater with my mom.
How long ago? I don't know. I didn't pay attention to how old the movie is.
2014.
Okay, so only 2 years old.
Yeah, no, it's much newer than it should be. But yeah, so I rewatched some scenes and stuff preparing for this, and before I went and rewatched the scenes, I was like, I remember like being kind of entertained 2/3 of the way, and then really hating the end. But I can't remember why. Like it's just not memorable. And then as soon as the nerdy best friend showed up, I was like, oh yeah, the handling of your character. Like you had no personality, and then you had the worst motivation, and just the whole thing.
She was a non-character. She was in the like background of every scene. It would be like if you found out the chair was secretly plotting against you.
Right, because like the chair was mad that it
Got sat on it.
Got sat on all the time.
Yeah. I was like, and like she was never like they never became friends with her. She just started showing up in their room.
Yeah.
Like a chair, yeah.
I gave you a chair.
But yeah, no. And so then it was like, you guys sit on me all the time, and they're like, you were here? And I don't know, like, maybe, I think they were kind of going, since it's the guy who wrote Heathers, maybe they were going for that kind of effect, but it totally, totally fell down.
Wow. Wow. Heathers is an old movie.
Yep.
Maybe he doesn't need to write teenage scripts anymore.
It's
I feel like he peaked at Heathers. He doesn't need to write anymore.
yeah, like, he did it. He did it. I thought
now is a different time, though.
It is.
So that really convoluted, like, this is how vampire politics explanation works, even though it's all about high school and doesn't matter to the plot.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
yeah, that's true.
They're like, okay.
I totally forgot about it at this point.
They're like, so she's the vampire princess, but there's actually like 7 royal families, and they all take turns being in charge, and like, so it's this big long explanation on how the vampire government works, and it's like that has no bearing whatsoever on anything that happens in this movie.
Except that she has to stand up and give a speech for some reason.
I still hate her. Also, her grandma yells at her. At least I think it was her grandma.
Yeah.
Is she living with her grandma now?
No, the grandma comes to visit to yell at her.
I mean, that's plausible. Grandmas do that.
Yeah.
So Rose's parents are dead.
The princess's
Parents are dead.
Yeah.
I don't...
Showed up to yell at. I thought that the vampire's princess's parents were the ones that died in the car accident.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Rose's... I can't remember if it was like their parents died together because it's like this whole bodyguard thing.
Oh.
This movie is maybe not very clear on facts.
Yeah, it's maybe not very good.
I mean, it had a lot of iffy stuff to work with in the book.
Yeah, it sounds like. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to get it out of my queue now.
Yeah.
Now I don't feel like I need to keep it in there.
Yeah, now you know.
I do.
We helped you. We saved you an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I so appreciate it.
But Rhiannon, you should maybe watch Shadowhunters if you liked how ridiculous this movie was, because Shadowhunters has a lot of the same dumb shit, but is more ridiculous. Like I said, creepy goth guy is the like main hot love interest, and he just keeps doing like blue steel at the camera.
Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. That sounds fun.
Shadowhunters is also based off a book that was Harry Potter fanfiction.
Nice.
Draco Malfoy, as he blue steals at the camera.
Oh wait, is Shadowhunters the one based off the Cassie Clare books?
Yes.
Oh my god, yeah, I definitely need to watch that. I read that whole trilogy for some reason. I don't know. They're vampire. Do they have the flying motorcycles in Shadowhunters? Because like the vampires.
The flying motorcycles have shown up.
Good. Okay, yeah. Because I remember that being like a big plot point in these books that vampires specifically have flying motorcycles.
In the Vampire Academy one?
No, this
in
show that has the same actor. So Shadowhunters, my aunt, is Harry Potter fan fiction, but instead of being wizards to explain their powers, they're angels. Or
yeah, like the children of fallen angels.
Is this on Netflix?
I know it's on Hulu. It might be on Netflix soon because like the first season just ended.
Okay.
And yeah, it is a really ridiculous show, and whoever was in charge of post-production like decided to just crank up all the saturation. So it is the brightest show
Oh no.
on TV in a long time.
It is not on Netflix, so no, I haven't seen it. Okay. There is some Angel TV show on Netflix that I tried to watch the first episode and then was all, no, stop.
And Isaiah Mustafa, the Old Spice guy, is hot werewolf dad in this.
Nice.
He kind of just hangs out and gets shirtless a lot.
Just like
I
on his commercials.
Hire Isaiah Mustafa, that is a good use of his time.
Yeah.
They were all, we need an actor who will do exactly what that guy in the Old Spice commercials will do.
Well, the thing is he's not that in the book, and they said, what if instead this werewolf character was Isaiah Mustafa? And it significantly improved his story.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice improvement.
Anyway, we're hitting close to 5 o'clock, which is when you said you need to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
All right.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really fun to be here.
I appreciate you telling me all about this show.
And we'll be back June 19th.
Yes.
There.